Hello and welcome back to another Walking Dead Dead City review, and today I'll be reviewing the season finale, and wow, I was not expecting this quality. So the season finale does quite a lot. Last week I was a bit worried that the season finale would just be about Maggie versus Negan and that the Hershel plot would be moved on to another season. No, this episode has the Maggie versus Negan, and then it has the bit where it's like, okay, Hershel saved, the season quest is done, and then you have set up for potential season 2. This episode's broken into 3 parts, and it's done so well. There's no real issues, I have to say, with the presentation. The show looks so good in this episode, and the writing and pacing really help this show. A lot of the time with the Walking Dead universe shows, especially Fear, you get a show that looks nice, but you don't have the writing talent. This show has that, and by the end of this episode, I'm really left wanting more, which is good, because a lot of times with the Walking Dead universe stuff, you're always left being like, well, that was it, I guess I'll watch it next week. This is really good. I'm so happy that the ending of the season was so good. I really do like Negan putting things together. I felt Jenny was a bit meh. I feel like they could have done a bit more with her. It seems like all she was there to do was to meet up with Negan, and then Negan to reveal this big plot twist, and then her to leave. And then Negan figures out the entire Maggie thing by himself. And I just thought, okay, now you've just made Jenny slightly useless. Why make her a big part of the show if she isn't the one to reveal that, and it's just Negan figuring it out? This episode also has a couple little moments where you just have characters like talking, and it just really works because you have this scene with Maggie and Negan where Maggie finally opens up. Earlier in the season, Negan opened up about his connection to Manhattan, and now Maggie opens up about her connection with Macy's, and it really helps make these characters feel alive. And it's really good to see these two characters open up to each other, because these characters, like Maggie hates Negan, and it makes me actually like Maggie. I've gone from season 11 where I particularly did not like Maggie. She was really annoying, and I feel like her character development was just really annoying in the first 2 parts, and I only thought she was okay in the last part. This show has really made me almost do a 180 on my opinion of Maggie. She doesn't really do much in the show, sadly. However, when she's given these moments to be vulnerable, it really helps humanize her and really makes me actually like Maggie. So it's one big positive that this show exists, because in The Walking Dead, she had so many casts, you couldn't really have all these little moments of characters to make them feel real and to have that connection with. So I'm really, really happy that this show gives us a chance to do that with Maggie, especially because we've had that with Negan a couple of times on The Walking Dead. But with Maggie, we really haven't. The actual fight with Maggie and Negan was good. I'm really happy it was brief. It wasn't this big drawn out thing, because I was really worried going to this episode that it would be the entire episode. No, it's about a minute or 2. They throw each other around. Negan gets stabbed. However, in the next shot, you see no stab wound on Negan's side. I thought that was just a little fail with the effects or makeup department. Like, Negan was stabbed in the shoulder, or it looked like it. And then once he's down with Maggie, he pulls out his knife. There's no blood on the knife, and there's no hole in his leather jacket. And I thought that's just a slight oversight. But it's really just a tiny thing. Another tiny thing is that everyone teleports off the island. I really thought season 2 would be about them trying to escape Manhattan. But no, Pearlie and Jenny, they are with Maggie and Negan. Next scene, they're off the island. Maggie and Hershel, they're in the bank with the Cohen and Negan. Next scene, they're back in a car. And I feel like this is the only time when the writing was just weak. That's the only point where the writing was weak, because I feel like we should have got a scene or 2, at least one of those characters, showing them how they got off the island. We probably know how Pearlie got off with the floating floats, and Maggie was probably given a boat by the crowd, but at least show us that instead of just like having them teleport. I just didn't like them teleporting, and it made it feel a bit meh, because this was the conclusion to the entire story of the season, and they literally just have the reunion very briefly, and then bam, we're now about Negan setting up season 2. And I feel like they should have taken more time to be in the moment with Maggie and Hershel. Like, they did have a bit of a scene once they are off the island, but you should have seen them on the island, like, reconciling a little. I feel like you should have done a bit more with Maggie and Hershel, because after they're reunited, you get a scene with them in a car, and then bam, it is just about Negan. And the ending is very entertaining. It answers a lot of questions. This ending is very clear where season 2 would be about, and they finally answer why the New Babylon part is in this story, because I have been, and other people have been, complaining about New Babylon. Why has it been in the show? It's not relevant, doesn't really tie in, doesn't really add anything. But the ending of season 1 really sets up Pearlie's group, not Pearlie himself, but New Babylon, as the potential next villains of season 2. And Negan is being told he's going to be this hero that the city needs. And the whole reason they wanted Negan on the island was so that he could lead them to defend the island from New Babylon. And it seems like it's going to be, season 2 is all about Negan again. And what's the point in Maggie when it's meant to be the Maggie and Negan show, when Negan is the focus of both seasons and Maggie is not even relevant? Season 2 looks like it's going to be about Negan, reunite people, and Maggie's off back in the bricks. Like, she's obviously going to come back to Manhattan, because apparently it's really easy to get in and out of Manhattan, when in previous episodes they're like, you can get on the island but you can't get off. But what are they going to do with Maggie? That's what I'm really struggling with, because this is meant to be Maggie and Negan show, but it seems like there's no room for Maggie to have an actual part of the story. She is just there to be a courier in season 1, and in season 2, what's her job gonna be? Just to hop back on the island and be like, oi Negan, sorry bro, and that's it. Like, come on, do more of Maggie. And I feel like that is my biggest issue, like, not just this episode but this season, is Maggie was overshadowed in her own show. It's meant to be the Maggie and Negan show, and it just ended up being the Negan show for all 6 episodes. Moving on to a one sentence / one word review, and I have to say this season finale is fantastic, and give it a 9 out of 10. It is not a big action packed season finale, however it pays off all the story and all the setup they've had through these 6 episodes, and you really get to the end of this episode content with what story was told and excited for story for season 2. I really do not have any really big things to say that are negative about this episode. There are bad things here and there, but they're small. This is a very enjoyable episode and a must watch. But please tell me down below, what did you think about the season finale of Dead Sea Season 1? Did you like it? Did you hate it? And are you excited for Season 2? Let me know all your thoughts down below in the comments. This is it for me today, so make sure to like and subscribe. Peace out, and I'll see you in my next video.